What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn slams the WBC for treating Dillian Whyte the way they did and questions whether the mandatory title shot at Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury will ever happen. He goes in depth to say this on his own accord. He said, it's great to see people eat their words and give Dillian the respect he deserves. The frustrating thing for me is that Dillian Whyte was written in stone to be the mandatory for the winner of Wilder versus Fury. Okay. When this issue arose, the WBC suspended him. Nobody else did, and they delayed the mandatory until 2021. When he does become mandatory, my worry is that the WBC will just make Wilder franchise champion. Then Whyte will never get his title shot. Okay. Look at Kubrat Pulev. How has he become the IBF's mandatory? Whyte has been through all of them. He's been number one for nearly 2 years, and I don't see why he's not getting his shot he deserves. If he has to wait until 2021, so be it, but I don't see why. I really hope he finally gets a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship in 2020, not 2021, because it can't go on any longer. Those are the words from Eddie Hearn. Look, what Eddie Hearn says is true. What Eddie Hearn says is, we all know this. You know, he's slamming the WBC for what they did. And the thing that sticks out in this article to me is that the WBC, before hearing what the B sample was, suspended Dillian Whyte temporarily, right? But they were the only ones that did that. Not the IBF, not the WBA, not the WBO, right? Just the WBC. Now, don't you people think about this. Don't you see that the WBC went out of their way to make a decision that nobody else did? A premature decision at that. Think about it, people. These guys, all the other sanctioning bodies were like, okay, that's jacked up. Even VADA, okay, that which he passed that test with, had no issues, should I say, with that test. That's the test that they administer. That's the test that they use for the WBC. Okay, that was clean. So why the hell would they worry about an article that happened from BoxingScene.com? And why would they take that for cash value? You see what I'm saying? That does not make any sense. What this tells me is, and like I've told a lot of people, with Eddie Hearn and saying that he's, disgusted or upset with the WBC and all this, the WBC did not want Dillian Whyte in the position that he was in. He was there, and people, and because he fought his way there, it didn't really matter that he was there. It was just a problem that he was there, because then they were forced to obey their own rules, which they normally don't do with the WBC. Okay? They wanted who they wanted for the mandatory. You know who the mandatory was? It was Dominic Brazil. It was supposed to have been Dillian Whyte. But they somehow found a loophole, little shitty way of giving Dillian Whyte the opportunity that Dominic Brazil the opportunity that Dillian Whyte actually deserved. They did that a long time ago. So those guys were wondering, like, oh, well, when this is going to happen and when that's going to happen. What they did was, okay, Oscar Rivas, they tried to make Tyson Fury fight Oscar Rivas, right? But then Tyson Fury told them to go fuck themselves. Why? Because Tyson Fury is not held, nothing holds him. The WBC doesn't tell him what to do. And he showed them time and time again that nobody dictates what I do and who I fight. And they've tried it a couple times. And he told them both times, no, I don't have to do that. All right? You guys don't run me. I'm the lineal champ. So as long as they knew that Tyson Fury, on top of that contract that he signed, who's going to tell a person that just signed an 80 million pound contract what to do? It ain't the WBC, right? So they had to bow down. So then they said, you know what? Let's put Dillian Whyte in there to fight Oscar Rivas, because they knew he was a dangerous guy. Look what he did to Brian Jennings. Brian Jennings is no slouch, people. but Oscar Rivas stopped Brian Jennings. Okay. And he was only the second person to do it behind Luis Ortiz. So what Dillian Whyte did, Dillian Whyte said, freak, you know what? I'll take the test. I'll fight Oscar Rivas and I will beat him and I will be the eliminator. I'll be that number one guy. And what I think the WBC, they anticipated Oscar Rivas to win, to beat Dillian Whyte, but it didn't happen. So guess what? You know, my theory, something's going on with this adverse finding. You know what I mean? Because we don't know if they didn't set that up or not. We don't know that. Okay. But just suppose they didn't. Okay. If they did, they did. That's why we're where we're at. But if they didn't set this up and it wasn't a stitch up, right? If this wasn't a stitch up situation, well, they just used that as an excuse and it couldn't come at a better time. They just used that as that cheap excuse to get Dillian Whyte where they didn't want Dillian Whyte, not where he doesn't supposed to be. You know, they didn't want him there. So they tried to put roadblocks and the other fighters in his way, but he still passed the test. It was a scary one because, you know, Oscar Rivas can punch and he was tough. He just did not have the ability. I think he just fought the wrong game plan, honestly, because he was just waiting to counter and Dillian Whyte didn't give him any counter openings. You know what I mean? He didn't, you know, the possibilities of Oscar Rivas doing counters on Dillian Whyte was slim to none because Dillian Whyte boxed from the outside. And in fact, he fought Oscar Rivas just like he said that Joshua should have fought Andy Ruiz. That's why I would like to see Dillian Whyte and Ruiz, you know, because he's already said, just jab him. Just keep jabbing his ass, double tripping up on the jab when he tries to come in. Boom, hit him with the right. Give him something to worry about coming inside. That's what Dillian Whyte said. Anyway, they used that as the reason that Dillian Whyte was not, it's foul play, it's this, it's that. And they were the only ones that suspended Dillian Whyte. Now, don't you think that, why do you think that's just, look, that sticks out like a red thumb that only one sanctioning body, the same sanctioning body which he's number one, which they owe him something, decides to suspend him out of nowhere. Think about it. No B sample, no other explanation except a rumor. So they suspended this man over a rumor and then stuck Tyson Fury in his place, supposedly. Which that's a lie because Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had already agreed to fight. So it couldn't have been Tyson Fury, the number one WBC. You can't give someone something they already own. That don't even make sense. We're going to make you mandatory to fight Deontay Wilder. Dickhead, I'm already fighting Deontay Wilder. It has nothing to do with the WBC unless I win and now I take the WBC belt. You know what I mean? So it makes no sense. So back to Eddie Hearn. You know, he's frustrated with that or whatnot, but I think he's just he's talking, but I think he needs to do more walking. He needs to put some action behind it. Sue the WBC. You know what I mean? Because by the time they get everything sorted out, he could at least sue the WBC for negligence. Based on what he said, based on the evidence, based on everything that we have. Right? That's if he can use the UCAD situation as the way out, but he can reference that as they did clear him to fight. So they shouldn't have done what they did. So he should really, but being Dillian Whyte's promoter, he should administer and get with Dillian Whyte's lawyers and go after the WBC, not UCAD or the BBB of C, but the WBC. We be crooks, we be cunts, we be corrupt, we be whatever. You know what I mean? We be coming to sue your ass. That's what I would be if I'm Eddie Hearn. Like real talk. Because at this situation, they're screwing over Dillian Whyte. Obviously, they didn't want him there. Maybe his loud mouth. Maybe he was too political. Maybe he was saying too much of the wrong shit that they did not want Dillian Whyte saying. And I think that's why he's where he's at right now. And that's my counterpunch on that. You guys tell me what you think about Eddie Hearn's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.